Good morning and welcome, Wicked Smart listeners, to another episode, another Wicked Smart Masters class. I'm going to twist it up. I find myself saying that a lot to you guys, but I'm going to twist it up today because we're going to chat with Dustin Gutkowski. And Dustin is not, I repeat, not in the real estate business, but he's built his life from, you're going to hear, from homeless at age 14 to building a monster 100 million plus business in, get this, 4 years. And so why am I adding it to the Wicked Smart list of podcasts and want to get this in front of you? Because as an entrepreneur, you're going to come across struggles, and you're going to hear Dustin and I walk through sort of his journey. And there are so many nuggets for you to pull out of this, personally and business-wise, as he walks you through different things here. We're going to talk about how to start a business from scratch, even if you had no experience. A lot of you guys are sitting in a W-2 and you're going, how can I make that transition? Because if you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt what we have our fingers on here in the real estate market, with the ability to buy homes at 0 to 5%, there's nothing that would stop you. So there's got to be something blocking you. So he's going to talk a little bit about that. And then he's going to talk to you, assuming you make that journey, he's going to show you kind of the next few steps. How do you even find and train and retain top talent? How do you switch from solopreneur, which I had to do, to CEO mindset, and all kinds of cool things like that. So buckle in here while we bring you the next Wicked Smart Masters class. Enjoy. All right, guys, I want to make sure to remind you about our QLS Live event. We've been hosting this thing since 2016 in a basement, and now we have a brand new facility in Boston, Massachusetts this year, 2024. It's going to be September 23rd and 24th. That's a Monday and a Tuesday. It makes it easy for travel. It is literally right next to the airport. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS Live. And use the coupon code podcast50. That's going to give you 50% off. I'll see you there. All right, Dustin, with that as a backdrop, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I always kind of give the Wicked Smart listeners a little bit of backdrop as to why I bring on certain guests. And as I was saying to you off air, your story is remarkable, going from literally, age 14, homeless?
Yes, sir.
So what I'd love to a $100 million company, guys. So I'd love to maybe give behind the green curtain look at what that looked like for a few minutes to give them some context, and then we'll dive into some more concrete things for them.
Yeah. So before I was homeless, like what led up to being homeless? So was born I was born outside of Austin, Texas. We was kind of a small town, but it was a little rough. And we grew up in a trailer park, dirt poor family, right? My mom had me when she was 17. She got remarried when she was like 18, 19. I have no idea who my father is. We've tried to find it through Ancestry, the whole nine. Can't find it. Don't even know a name. And so my stepdad and my mom, look, they were the best parents they could be at the time, but they were heavy into drugs, drinking, things like that. And, it just led to a rough childhood, physical abuse, mental abuse. There was times we come home, we were evicted, we didn't have running water at times, no food. It just, look, it was a tough life. And so, when I was 14, man, I kind of had enough. And so, I left, and I had nowhere to go. There was a few nights where you would kind of sell your way into staying at a friend's house. It's late. I don't want to walk home, whatever. But, eventually your kind of luck runs out. And I remember one night specifically, I was literally just sleeping on a park bench. I was scared to death, and I'd go to the park and sleep. And when I was in high school, we had an open campus, and we had this old gym that the freshman B team used, and so it had downstairs, and I could hide clothes up there and shower in the mornings and stuff. And so I just had a nice little routine, man. I've kind of found a way, and I think later on in life that helped me become an entrepreneur, because it was always having to figure out a way to get through things, right, and be grateful for what I had. And so, from 14, it was a few months, man, bouncing from house to house, couch to couch, living wherever I could, sleeping wherever I could. And that went on for a while. And then when I was 15, 16, I was actually able to move in with a really good friend of mine. His dad took me in, and that's probably really what got me through high school. So I was there for a few years. And after high school, it took me 5 years to graduate high school. So it's not like I was some genius and had the way out was school. It took me 5 years, and I shouldn't even graduate. I think somebody the other day called me out and was like, "Oh, you were probably a smart kid in high school." And I was like, I had a 1.5 GPA in high school in 5 years. And I literally got my old report card and posted it. So it's like on social media. And, after high school, I was really lost cause, man. I did have a good career in the fitness industry, but when you really look back and you look at the success I had, if you dive in deeper, like you said, the green curtain, man, I was a train wreck. I was out partying. I bounced from job to job. The only reason I stayed for long periods of time because I was really successful at selling. So people kind of they dealt with me, if you will, right? But I had a ceiling because of that. So I finally, man, after my son was born, I was, I guess, late in life. I had my son when I was 35, and I just wanted to do something more, man. I just remembered that. So the kind of story was, our last name's Gutkowski. I had just recently, actually, me and my wife were married. 2 months later, we find out she's pregnant. Actually, at the time, I had no job, which was crazy. And I was really embarrassed of the last name because it didn't mean anything to me. I didn't know my dad. I didn't know anyone. It was my mother's maiden last name. And I was the only one that had it. And I was just like, babe, like, why? This means nothing to me. It means trauma. It means abuse. It means failure. I don't get excited when I think of it. And how am I going to bring a son into the world when there's no heritage there? And I remember the moment I saw her holding him, I was like, it's go time. Like, we're going to create this legacy. We're going to create the Gutkowski last name. This is actually great. I'm going to make this kid so proud that his last name is Gutkowski. I'm going to make my wife so proud that we're going to create this. And so it was just kind of that driving force to try to be better, right? And it didn't happen overnight. Just because you say, let's go, it doesn't mean anything. So it took a lot of work. I had a lot of failures even after that. And, I feel like I failed my way to success because I just wouldn't quit. And that's what's kind of led us to this point.
So what was the impetus then? Because that's absolutely amazing. What was the impetus for all those challenges to get into roofing? Like, did someone influence you? How did that happen?
Yeah. So, I had a lot of friends in real estate, and real estate was an option, right? Like, I started doing a lot of research. I was making really good money in the fitness industry. So when I back up, I tell people it wasn't like I was miserable. I was a vice president of a company. I was the top. I didn't answer to anyone but our owner. I was calling the shots. I was making the most money I'd made in my life. And it wasn't that I was miserable. I just wanted more. And so when I did start researching, it was like, I have to do more, whether it be real estate. And so there was this correlation between roofers and realtors, kind of the same company. I saw, okay, well, I got to go get my real estate license. I didn't want to do that at the time. And I saw people that I knew in the fitness industry going and having success in roofing and making a ton of money. And at the time, I still thought I was money motivated. So to this point, I thought more money means more success. More money means better person, right? I was still caught up in that kind of mindset, which I think a lot of people are. And so I said, man, roofing, there's a lot of money in this industry. What about roofing? And so I went and told my wife, I'm like, I think I'm going to do roofing. And she was like, you're freaking crazy. No, you're not. You're not even handy. I go, yeah, but we could build a roofing company. And ironically, man, we were living in Michigan. We were in Detroit, and we're from Dallas, Texas, where we have lived, since we've been married. And a buddy of mine called randomly and goes, hey, I'm looking to hire roofing salespeople. Do you know anybody interested? And I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I said, I am. And I went to work for his company for about 10 months. And I realized it just wasn't a fit for me, that I need to do my own thing. But it was just, I saw other people having some success in roofing. And I thought my mindset's kind of worked is, if I could provide a solution in this industry and do something special. And I saw a huge gap in the roofing industry. And I go, wow, we could take some of the stuff we've learned here in fitness into roofing, actually. Not the tactics, but the way we treated people, the way we helped them achieve something, the customer service. I was like, this could transition to the roofing industry. And that was all I needed to know was I could go in and make a major impact. And so that was how it started.
So at this point, and maybe still, I don't know, you tell me, did you have any like roofing or business coaches this early yet? No one here guiding you?
No. So I'm very, I don't want to say stubborn. I probably can read people. All the stuff that I've been through, your life, your spidey senses are always up, right? And because of just the shit that I've been through, it's been crazy. And So you pay attention to people. You don't pay attention to what they say. You pay attention to what they do. And I just had a really tough time of these business coaches that never ran a business. It's like, how are you going to coach me on something you've never done? And I'm not saying somebody could do real estate and coach somebody in roofing. They built an empire in real estate. It's going to transition over, right? But I'm like, you live in your mom's basement and you're pushing people in business.
Yeah,
it's too much of that. So I was really skeptical of that, and I didn't want to coach. I saw that everybody in the roofing industry was doing it the same way, and I wanted to be different. And around this time, ironically, I can say it's about a year before, I read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, and when I read that book, it hit me like a ton of bricks of, why don't we create blue oceans in roofing? Why not go after a different customer? And so I wanted to use that to like just transition me into roofing. And I didn't want to be friends with anyone in roofing. There's this kind of good old boy system where everybody should get along and make packs and help each other out. And I'm like, nah, man, that's not me. I want to compete. I want to be the best. I don't want to be your friend. I don't care how you're doing it, right? Like, the way you do it is not for me. And I want to go out and build it on my own and create something that maybe had never been done before a different way. And I'll use the example for people out there. Everybody in roofing just door knocks, really. And I had a lot of success in the fitness industry through social media, but not posting like workout pics like bodybuilders. It was posting like, how could you lose 20 pounds? Hey, what's 3 exercises you could do in the gym if you're just getting started? I wanted to cater to the average person that was coming in that had never been to fitness. Then I started creating funny reels, right? Like, for instance, in Detroit, a reel that went viral, it was snowing. It was like below zero. And I had this little scooter and I was like, scoot on down for pre-sale pricing. And people were like, I hope you crash. I mean, crazy stuff, but it was funny. And it got people's attention. And so I was like, why can't I take that to roofing? Because people weren't doing that. And so that was one strategy I took, was like, we're going to go heavy on social media. We're going to post content. We're going to door knock, yes, but we're going to do social media. So I just wanted to come in and do it differently. I didn't want to go to all the roofing conferences. I didn't want to be buddy with roofers and make packs that I don't hire your people, you don't hire mine. I'm like, I want to win at all costs. And I want to build for our team so we can respect each other and we don't have to hate on each other, but I don't want to be your friend. That's not my mentality. And so I decided, let's create blue oceans. Let's try to do a little differently.
So for everyone and for me, what was the time frame we're talking about here? You started officially when, and then how fast was the growth? And I want to come back to the people component, because obviously that had to happen.
Yeah. So we started, our first day was actually November 23rd, 2019. So it was literally 2 months before COVID.
Wow.
That was when we started. I had a 1.5-year-old son. My wife was pregnant. So it was crazy. And then COVID hit. And then, so our first year we did 3 million. Second year we did 10. Third year we did 19. And then this last year we did 40 million, is what we did in sales. And then the businesses grew. Like, we have several other businesses now, like add-on businesses, but just particularly roofing. So, it was pretty quick, I would say. I don't know where
super quick.
We have suppliers and distributors that are like, you're literally the fastest one we've ever seen, or you're the top 3 fastest we've ever seen ever. I don't know. I don't really get caught up in that. I try to just I don't want to get bored of the basics. I want to stay focused on the main thing. So I feel like we still have so much potential that I don't get caught up in, what success we've had. I try to focus on the people and where we're going now, where we're at. And but I'm blessed. Obviously, I'm super grateful for all that we've done. But we've had some, pretty rapid success early on.
And okay, so let's go back to the people component, because I'm thinking as I grow my business and everybody, like from day one, even adding your first 1 or 2 people. So what's your sort of philosophy or protocol or repertoire? How do you look for, how and when do you look for people? And then how do you train them and retain them? Because obviously that kind of growth, crazy.
Yeah. So first of all, I look for hiring the right people, right? It's attitude over everything for me, because skill can be taught and attitude usually can't. And so to me, I want to take someone. I use, like, if you've ever played video games, and you play like a sports game, they rate the players, and you have guys rated 99. Those are your best, right? But let's say there's guys out there that are 95 skill, but they have a 70% attitude. I would rather flip-flop that. I'd rather have the guy with 70% skill and 99% attitude, because that guy's going to go further. And that guy's going to be a team player. So I've always looked for attitude. And I look for people that maybe need a shot out there, that nobody's ever believed in them, that I could be that one person that believes in them and change their life. Again, you do have skills you hire for. And so when early on I made a decision, it was, I'm gonna focus on people. And I know that sounds cliche, it kind of sounds corny, but it was what I was always going to make decisions based on people. And I've been true to that since day one. And now I don't always get it right. And I'm not saying every decision I've made is right, because I've got a ton of things wrong. And there's people that are no longer here that my decisions cost them their job or spun them out. And that's 100% on me. And I own that. And, I've learned from those, and I always try to get better. But my intent was always to get it right, not for me to be right. And so I said I always wanted to take care of people. I remember all the bad leaders I had. And, I said, look, it doesn't just have to be about numbers and sales. It can be about people and numbers, right? It can be about professionally growing, but personally growing. And so I've made it a point that I want to take care of people. And if they ever leave results, I want them to be better when they leave than when they started. And I want them to know that no matter what, like, I do care, and I'll try everything in my power to help them achieve their goals and dreams. And so, people remember the way you make them feel. They remember when you go out of their way. We do these events. I'll just use one thing is I have 10 to 12 people that every morning at 6 a.m. we meet in my garage in my home, and we work out. And at the end of the workout, we do a good word. That's a way to build culture. This Saturday, I hired a pretty famous Texas country music singer. He's coming to my house playing acoustic for 90 minutes, and we're doing a 90s themed country party, and my whole leadership team's coming over, probably 30 to 40 people, because I'm spending that with my own money to show them, like, hey, we're going to come eat, we're going to break bread, we're going to have your kids there, families, and we're going to hang out, create culture, right? And so I've always wanted to pay people, even when I lost money. I wanted to make sure people were taken care of. I wanted to make sure people could feed their families. If they were doing the right work and they were doing what they're supposed to do, then I would take care of them. And with that, what I've found is people truly care about this organization. They truly care about me. They care about my family, no different than them. And so it's been so special to watch. And look, some of those business decisions have probably been terrible, because I've invested money in people and things that I never should have. But I felt like in the end, love is always going to win. People are going to win. And I'm in the business of building people, nothing more, nothing less. And so I would argue even the ones that I lost, I really won, because I did the right thing for as good as we are, not as bad as others are. And I would do it over and over again, because for every one that didn't work out, there's been two that have. And without doing those things, I wouldn't have those people. And it's just, if you focus on people and you focus on taking care of them, they will do anything in the world for you. And so it's not easy, but it is a decision that I look for opportunities to step in and help. I look for opportunities to, see if I can add input. I don't look for opportunities to coach and criticize. It's condemn. I'm trying to build up, right? I'm not trying to break down. And so it's been something I focused on day one. I made a conscious decision. And I believe it's the utmost reason we've had the success is because of that, because we couldn't do it without the people. It's a people business, and everything is. So that's been, for me, the thing that I contributed our success to.
No, super cool. That's why I went there. And then the other thing that comes to mind then, and this is a good way to put a cap on this, is the mindset. You mentioned something earlier about some money mindset, but I also wanted to know the mindset of moving from a sort of, my journey was I was always a solopreneur until someone got a hold of me and said, no, here's how you scale. So the mindset from a money mindset that you mentioned earlier, just in passing, but also the CEO mindset coming from solopreneurship, because a lot of people, again, are listening going, well, what about me? I'm just like a solopreneur. So talk about that a little bit, because mindset's huge, right? And clearly the words come out of your mouth, you're very tuned to it.
Yeah. So, early on, I was very money motivated, right? And I think you have to be at sometimes. Like, it's not naive to the fact that there's, money's a vehicle and you have to make a certain amount of it. But I'll just use this journey. So before I got into roofing, I thought well, I got to make 6 figures. I got to make 250. I thought that would make me happy. And it doesn't make you happy. You're never fulfilled with it, right? I actually love people that are money motivated now because I know that they can't touch me. I will, because they're playing for something that when they achieve it, they're done. And they don't think they are, but they slack off. And I'm like, I'm playing for something that's beyond this life. I'm trying to build infinite life in a finite time to build this legacy that's long term. So early on, though, I always just chased the money, and I felt like the money ran from me. And I think when having my son and having my wife, it taught me that there was so much more to life, that money was a tool, yes, to take your family places and provide for them. But when you start focusing on providing the best life for your family and providing the best things around you, it's almost like the money just comes because you're focused on that thing opposed to the dollar amount. And so when I opened the company, I was very honest with myself that I was like, man, money just doesn't make me happy. I see I bought nice things and I'm still not where I want to be. I've got to start focusing on the person I want to become. And then I thought about all the times that I felt fulfilled. It was with hanging out with my wife and kid. It was helping someone else. It was giving. And I was like, man, if I feel good doing those things, why would I not do more of those?
Yeah.
And so I started giving more than I took. And, the first 2 years of Results Roofing, I was the top sales guy, 2 years in a row. And I was probably a 50% leader. I wasn't bad, but I wasn't great. I was in a hustler mode. It was sell, 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 sell. Now, I did help a lot of people along the way on selling, but it wasn't as much life and leadership, right? Because without selling, we had no organization. And so I wasn't naive to that. As year 2 progressed, we actually, even though, which is a really funny story, even though year 1, we did 3 million, and still to this day, our largest growth is year 1 to 2, because we went from 3 to 10. So we actually tripled. We actually had our highest turnover because I wasn't able to give people the attention they needed or deserved. I wasn't helping them grow personally and professionally because I was out there in hustler mode. And so I knew at that point is I needed to hire people that could fill some gaps that would allow me to go from the hustler to the CEO, to go from the dude grinding in the field, working in the business, to working on the business. And so I had to change my mindset of going, if you ever want to do something super special, you got to stop being like everybody else, because you don't get to be, a legend by just doing the average. And most people, we sell ourselves this insecurity of, well, I don't want anyone else to do it because they're not going to do it as good as me. I don't trust them. What I feel like that is you just don't trust yourself. And then the second thing is you have an insecurity that person might actually be better than you one day, and you don't want to realize that because that would hurt your ego. And for me, my goal is to make everyone around me better than me. That just means I have to do less. And so it was a tough mindset, because you go from being, call it the star player that gets all the attention, all the love, you're the top sales guy, to this, you kind of got to be behind the scenes, right? And you've got to let other people shine. And when I started doing that, though, I fell in love with watching people's growth, watching people that you inspire others. And it just gives me chills. I'm like, oh, wow, like, I love this. And so it was a mindset of having empathy for people when they make a mistake. Like, I look back at my journey and go, man, Dustin, it took you 35 years to get to this point. And you're judging this 28-year-old kid off of his 1 year experience. It's kind of hypocritical. Why don't you have some empathy that he's 1 year in his journey, you're in year 20, 30, whatever it is, having empathy, try to figure out what's going on. Can I coach him during this to make him better? Can I build him up? Is there something going on in his personal life? So I started to go at it that way and say, I got to focus on building the business, not grinding in it, and trusting people that if I do the right work, they're going to do the right work. If I'm leading them the right way, they're going to be the right way. And I trust myself and I trust them. And then when they make a mistake, we're going to talk about it and we're going to learn from it and we're going to move on. It's not the end of the world because we've all made it. And so I don't look to fire people unless they're a cancer inside the organization, lie, cheat, steal. I don't look to fire for mistakes. I look to coach and build up and learn from them. And it's been, outside of being a husband and a father, it's the most important thing to me. It's so special to me. It's like my hobby. I love what I do. And so it just makes it easier. And I challenge everyone, if you start impacting others and giving them your all, and when you see them have a little bit of success, it's the greatest feeling in the world. And it'll free you up because it's not them that's holding you back. It's you holding you back and your limitations. And once you let them go of them, you actually get to see what's possible in your business and how fast you can grow it.
You're as you see, if you're not watching this on video, as the Dustin can see, I'm on my edge of my chair here because I'm just enthralled with what you're saying. So I hope they feel the same way. I know they do. And I really appreciate you. Talk to them. 2 questions to wrap up. Talk to the W-2 individual that wants to be an entrepreneur and just hasn't made the jump yet. Because I just rack my brain on this all the time going, what, if you knew you couldn't fail, what is possibly getting in your way? And then anything else that you think that you'd love to share that I didn't ask?
Yeah. The W-2 looking to jump over is that identify why you want to do it first, like who you are. I think we're living in this culture of it's cool to put CEO in your hashtag, your bio, where it's cool to be an owner. Look, being an owner, being even an independent contractor in real estate, right? You're an owner. At the end of the day, even if you work for a broker, you're still managing your own business, right? So it's not cool. It's not at all. It's not glamorous. It's rough. It's not cut out for everybody. But if you truly know why you want to do it, then you need to go all in. And my advice to everyone is, look, I have people here that like, I need a side hustle. I'm like, no, you don't. You just need a main hustle. Side hustles will make you go broke. And so if you're in W-2, right, and I would say, here's where you can do it. Let's say you work at your corporate America job and you're making $75,000 a year, but you're kind of living paycheck to paycheck and you only got a few $1,000s saved up. Find out what you really want to go do. And let's just use roofing and real estate as an example, because I think they're 1099. You're an independent contractor. You need about 3 months worth of your bills saved up, minimum. So let's say you don't have that. What can you do? Well, you're not going to be able to have your full-time job and still do this. It's never going to work out. And what's going to happen is they're both going to slack. What you can do is obviously get your real estate license on the side while you have your full-time job. You need to quit that and go all in on what you want to do. And if you need to pay your bills, which I 100% understand, do Uber Eats, right? I will tell you myself, when I started the company and I got into roofing, I didn't have enough money to pay my bills. I was literally working 8 to 8, 7 days a week. And when I got off of work at 8 o'clock, I would take my son and my wife and I would drive Uber Eats for 2 to 3, 4 hours, 5 hours sometime, depending on the night. And that was how I paid my bills. So I had 2 full-time jobs. I didn't work 8 to 5, then go home. I got to do all this 8 to 5. I was literally working from 8 in the morning sometimes till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, because Uber Eats and Uber will actually allow you to create your own schedule and make some money on the side while you're doing this. And I will tell you, if it's something you really want to go do, you need to jump all in and don't half-ass it, because if you half-ass it, you're going to get half-ass results. You have to go all in. You have to do it from day one. The people that we see that are successful quit their job. They come do it full time and they do it straight. And you got to give yourself 90 days. I can tell you, the realtors that I know, the roofers that I know, the ones that have stuck with it every day for 90 days, they start to have a breakthrough. And then 6 months, they really start to have a breakthrough. And then after that year, they take off. And so you have to give yourself time to build up. Give yourself 90 days, then 6 months. Those are the 2 markers that I've noticed where people start to have success if they're working full time, if they're doing their content, if they're out there hustling, if they're out there networking and meeting people. You will have the success. But what do you expect to do in 2 weeks? What do you expect to do when you're working 2 hours a day on it? You're never going to develop the skill. So for those out there, look, it is scary, right? But anything worth having is scary. But if you go all in, you will change your life, even if it's for yourself, right? Even if you don't want to have dreams of building a big company, you can go from making $70,000 to $150,000. You can go from making $70,000 maybe in the less time, and you have more freedom with your family. But find out why you really want to do it. Identify that and set metrics on what you need to do, and then go all in to get it. Once you do that, the only way you won't is if you quit or you stop.
Yeah, I love it. I love it the same. Let's do this because I'll forget, and I'm so into your conversation. What's the best way for them to reach you? Any social, email, anything you want to share?
Yeah, so on all socials, it's pretty easy. Dustin Gutkowski. I think I'm the only one on there. but Instagram, Facebook, any way you want to connect, hit me up on social media. Would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, you can find me on any of those. Like I said, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm typically on Facebook or Instagram the most. If you look for the roofing company, Results Roofing, you can look us up. Send us a message. We'd love to hear from you if there's any way we can help.
Love it. Love it. Super appreciate you being on, Dustin, especially with everything you're juggling. Congrats is an understatement with your family and your business. So super appreciate you. Keep spreading the word because you could be a coach tomorrow the way you approach that whole topic and the whole podcast. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks. Okay, guys, that wraps up our time together today with Mr. Dustin Gutkowski. And man, oh man, is he absolutely amazing. So make sure you reach out just for some mentorship if that's what you want or someone to lean on. I would love to see you guys. Let me see my notes here. This you're going to be hearing this somewhere around mid April. I would love to see you guys at the QLS Live event. Keeping in mind, we started this back in 2016 in a basement. We're now going to be at the convention center called Convene in Boston, Massachusetts. And that's going to be on the week of September 23rd and 24th, whatever that Monday and Tuesday is. You can go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS Live. And for 50% off, just punch in the coupon code. You'll see the card populate, punch in the code podcast50, podcast50. We'll see you there.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. If you're ready to invest in yourself and take your investing to the next level, check out our 90-day Jumpstart program by going to smartrealestatecoach.com/jump. That's smartrealestatecoach.com/jump, because now is the time to act boldly in this unprecedented market shift.